Hello all, and welcome to our podcast where we talk about clean water access in relation to the United States. On today's episode, we are talking about fracking. What is it? Who is it affecting? And what are the next steps we can take to a healthier, cleaner environment? So what is fracking? Fracking is a drilling tactic using high pressurized liquid to extract oil, natural gas, geothermal energy, or water from deep within the ground. It also creates cracks in rock formations to allow easy flow of gas and oil. The problem that we face today is that fracking involves using an exorbitant amount of water. Even worse, this practice can contaminate water supplies with radioactive particles. Though leftover fracking fluid is left in tanks and dams to be reused, that doesn't always happen. This issue has grown over the years and it has even been banned in some countries. My name is Katie and I will let my partners introduce themselves.
Hi, my name's Kylie King.
I'm Clint West.
I'm Sarah Bradford.
Great, so how did you guys find out about fracking?
I learned about fracking through social media platforms like Instagram and TikTok.
I used to drive by a fracking site every day when I had to go to my parents' house.
I first found out about fracking from a video I saw on YouTube a long time ago. A video published in March of 2015 by a YouTube channel called Bold, Nebraska. This shows a farmer pressed on his water quality. He says his 2 cents in front of a pro-fracking council at an open meeting. He pulls out a clear water bottle and a styrofoam one. The farmer compliments the clean water and how important it is to his life. He then starts to pour out the contents of the styrofoam cup. A nasty brown liquid pours out, his drinking water. This water that keeps his family and his farm stable. This is absolutely disgusting, and I can't imagine relying on this water for myself and farming. The silence on the council shows they share the same opinion as everyone else who's seen the video. As I said, this video is how I found out about fracking. For this video went viral. Millions of others have had the same experience as I did.
I read a really interesting article about fracking called Fracking in Our Food Supply by Elizabeth Roy, written on November 28, 2012. She tells her story about a ranch in North Dakota called Shilk Ranch. In the article, they gave pictures of the drilling rigs on her farm to show the viewers how invasive this process really is. The farm is owned by Jackie Shilk, and she owns about 60 cows on her 160-acre farm. Her cattle are affected in a really negative way, and through pictures on the website, you can see how horribly malnourished these animals look and how some of their tails have decayed and fallen off. They look like they are suffering, and this is because of human actions in fracking that is contaminating the water so badly. A quote from Roy about what Shilk said in her interview about the meat that she receives from her cattle states that, start quote, she is no longer sharing or eating it since fracking began on 32 oil and gas wells within 3 miles of her 160-acre ranch, and 5 of her cows dropped dead, end quote. This is so scary to think about since it does not just have a small effect on the cows, but is even killing them. If there are chemicals being injected into the earth and exposed to animals that become this cause of death, then it should be more of a main priority to stop fracking and help our clean water access. A certified environmental consultant in the same article published in 2012 by Elizabeth Roy stated that they have found levels of, start quote, benzene, methane, chloroform, butane, propane, toluene, and xylene, common compounds associated with drilling and fracking, and also with cancer, birth defects, and organ damage, end quote. This is so scary that all these chemicals are in our water, and not only is it affecting her cattle, but it's also starting to affect humans' food and water consumption. Another quote from Michelle Bramberg, who is an Ithaca veterinarian in the same 2012 article, just explained that these chemicals could start to show up in dairy and meat products if all the levels of chemicals are tested.
Yeah, so I went back to my hometown and asked some local farmers some questions on how chemicals would affect their operation. I asked how much a farm relies on a good water source, and as you could guess, a whole lot. My dad, a farmer his entire life, told me a farm is nothing without good water. Water runs the farm more than he does, for everything needs water. The grass, and just the water the cows drink. I then asked how would bad water affect the farm? And according to Ben, a local farmer in my hometown, start quote, farming is rough as is, so water that works against the farm will destroy our whole community, end quote. My dad jumped in after that, agreeing, telling me directly that without clean water, I would not be going to college. And he is right, as bad as that is. Farmers are struggling because of the missteps of uncaring corporations.
Thank you, Clint. Those were some really good points. I could imagine lots of farmers are looking for alternative options for extracting oil across the U.S. I was surprised that a method as old as 1949 was still the main source of oil extraction. With relation to clean water access in the U.S., I really wanted to learn about why hydraulic fracking stays a problem in our country. I believe it's important that we know why people are more concerned about the U.S. economy rather than clean drinking water for its citizens. Because fracking is a very industrial process that uses chemicals that are toxic and carcinogenic, I wanted to look deeper into the opposing side and really understand why fracking might be here to stay. Doing so, I recently stumbled upon a YouTube campaign video titled "The Costs of a Fracking Ban," published by the American Petroleum Institute. They warn the public of the consequences that will result from banning fracking in the United States. The video shows numerous news reporters and political figures who believe that fracking is essential to our economy and things would crumble if there was a ban on hydraulic fracking. A news reporter even states in the video that the result of a fracking ban would be, in quote, "a dead blow to our economy," about 54 seconds into the video. The reporters speak with such urgency as if they are sure that this would cause a loss of millions of jobs as well as money. Luckily for us, living in Kentucky, there are no credible resources linking fracturing in the state and no serious threats to our drinking water specifically due to fracking. However, neighboring states such as Pennsylvania, Ohio, and West Virginia have endured many risks regarding fracking in local counties. In the article by environmentalhealthnews.org, it states, exposure to the chemicals of fracking is linked to health problems, including kidney and testicular cancer, liver and thyroid problems, reproductive problems, lowered vaccine efficiency in children, and an increased risk of birth defects, among others. These states are disposing of the chemicals at over 100 sites across 3 states, and there it is highly likely to be affecting surrounding water sources. Further in the article, it states, people need to be more aware of what their government is doing and not doing to protect them from these industrial chemicals, and we still haven't stopped producing our PFAS, which, by the way, is an acronym for a 23-letter word that I can't pronounce. But even though we know they're impacting humans adversely, this is a problem our children and grandchildren will continue to face in the future, end quote. I think with this information, it's a good time to introduce Sarah's main points towards our discussion today.
Thank you, Katie. The government there is 8 laws, public and federal laws that cover against fracking. And those laws are the Safe Drinking Act, Clean Water Act, Resource Conservative and Recovery Act, Comprehensive Environmental Response, Compensation and Liability Act, Emergency Planning and Community Right to Know Act, Toxic Substance Control Act, Federal Insecticide, Fungicide and Rodenticide Act, and the Clean Air Act. I found this website that states from Earth Justice that was posted in September 8, 2022, quote, community groups, tribes, and conservation organizations are calling for federal agencies to address routine failures to protect low-income communities and communities of color in California's San Joaquin Valley from pollution caused by nearby oil and gas extraction on public lands. In a letter to leaders at the Environmental Protection Agency, Department of Interior, and Bureau of Land Management, the groups call out BLM's continuing violations of multiple federal laws when issuing permits to drill new oil and gas wells on existing leases. According to a fracking bill that came out in 2022 that was proposed by AOC, stated that the bill prohibits federal agencies from issuing permits for the expansion of fracking or fracked oil and natural gas infrastructure, including infrastructure intended to extract, transport, or burn natural gas or oil, unquote. This quote is from Congress.gov, and it's a quote from the bill and why they want this bill to be placed. This bill started in February 1st, 2021, and it was supposed to prohibit permits that were used or have been used for fracking within 2,500 feet of inhabited structures. The government doesn't do much about fracking because it's good for the economy and they don't have to rely on getting gas from different countries. There has been many studies stating that fracking, people who live near fracking sites start developing diseases. For example, from the website of the National Institute of Environmental Health Science, the workers of drilling sites state that the inhalation of silica sand without proper protection can cause lung diseases. There is a multi-year study published in 2022 that stated children who at birth resided within 2 kilometers of at least one well had nearly twice the chance of developing acute lymphoblastic leukemia. And from that same website, quote, a 2016 study published in JAMA Internal Medicine evaluated risk of worsening asthma for more than 35,000 asthma patients living near unconventional natural gas development sites in Pennsylvania. Researchers found such activity near patient residencies was associated with an increased chance of mild, moderate, and severe asthma exacerbations.
It's crazy how many problems there are with fracking in the US, not only related to clean water access, but also some health risks that could damage our animals and as well as humans. If you are interested in learning more about our discussion today, I would recommend visiting cleanwater.org. It is an organization that can provide lots of information about clean water contamination and includes several articles specifically related to fracking. It's possible that you may donate to this organization that goes towards many campaigns to end fracking in the US for good. That will be linked below. So with that, we're concluding our podcast and our discussion for today. My name's Katie.
I'm Kylie.
I'm Clint.
I'm Sarah.
And thank you for joining us today. We will see you next time.